Hello, Namaskar. It's the 30th of October today. And according to the Ananda Mark system, we have to fast tomorrow on Amawas, which is the 31st of October. But I can either fast one day before or one day after the actual fasting day. 2 days won't work, 3 days won't work. You have to fast either one day before one day or the exact date. Then it will have the full power, the full potency. You have to follow the rules given by the founding father, the master. And we know that Diwali this year, it actually is supposed to be on the 1st of November. But I don't know how and why they put it on the 3rd or 4th of October, which also happens to be a pagan holiday known as Halloween. In the certain states in Europe, it's a national holiday, I think. And just before the 3rd or 4th, I think somewhere around the 28th or 27th, they will go trick or treating. Trick or treat, give me something to eat. Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something to eat. If you don't, I don't care. I will pull down your underwear. That's the little kids go about. They go asking for sweets and so, Halloween, they say it's when the gates of Narakara, which is hell, it opens. And all the spirits, goblins, hobgoblins, demon, rakshas, are roaming about. They also say that your ancestors, they come and are around also come to Peter Paksh. They might come and visit their children. Sometimes you're sleeping and they fly through the house, they move through the house to see their old places. Just at one day they're given every year, Peter Paksh, and this period, Peter Paksh, to visit the old place on planet Earth when they take birth, to remember and recall and see their children, how they're doing, their people, their family, and so on. I don't know how it will help people spiritually, but that's it's in the Hindu culture, and Halloween is something like that, But why they allow the Halloween and the Diwali to coincide? I think it's probably the government and politics of the local Hindu bodies here in Guyana, or whether it's internationally they decide on it. I don't know. But it seems like it's a Hindu injunction, or the people in the church, the temples and mandirs, they decide upon it and they fix it. There's so many Hindu bodies and Hindu groups, but only the opinions of those taken by the major Hindu group is sanctioned, and this usually has connection with India and the holy people and the pundits from India and Varanasi and Prayag and so on. So all these seats of learning in India, they are somehow connected in small ways, and rivulets and outlets, avenues and by-lanes, they're connected to Guyana. So we get a feedback, we get a little tidbits from them, they throw to us here, and we get taste something of spirituality. But I think if a lot of more contribution has to be made by the people, a lot of consent by the local people here, Guyanese. Got to be a lot more cooperation and the mutual understanding and respect for Hindus to properly flourish, because you not get into practice the injunction and the laws. Like, I know when it's Friday, the Muslim get permission, they go to pray at the church, but Hindus can't practice their practices and their beliefs fully. It's obscured by technology. They're saying, no, it's not so, that the technology preaches something different, which is lies, probably lies they're using for their own ends. I remember I was at the university and one of the lecturers told me that because I come from Indians High School, the Richard Ishmael, which was then at that time privately owned and was known as the Indians, they say that, oh, what have I learned? It's probably something different from what they learn in the outside schools, the other schools, which is not true. My school was at one time at par with Queen's College, and this lecturer, he was a particular, I don't want to call his name, he was always doing like this to put you down, that you don't have the capacity to reach up to their level or to be like them, you know. And to be like them and do like them, you have to indulge in all of these what are called prohibitions in Hinduism. You know, you have to partake in all these. So other ethnicities, other religions should not try to impose on Hindus. Rather, if Hindus can form their own little groups and their own and of course this will be supported by the government, which in turn will be supported by external bodies like in Europe, where the finances and the money come from. So you can't say that you're losing money and money is being usurped because of your real life. And the Africans will be given a chance, the Christians will be given a chance, or the ethnicities. And in the end, we'll see our production at the end of the year, at the end of the month. We can compare and have a lot of fun and social conversation about it, you know. So it's a good idea, and I hope that there can be better workplace accommodation for aspiring Hindus. You know, sometimes you have to go down in the field to work, and your co-workers or the people you're working with, the environment is not always feasible for Hindus, you know. And the smell of prohibited food, this alcohol, the language, and the kind of behavior and culture sometimes just give you shock, culture shock, and you feel kind of repelled, blasted off, you know, as some people would say, you know. So all in all, there's a lot Hindus can do for this country, and we see what they did in India. All the other ethnicities have voluntarily merged under the umbrella of Hinduism. All those ethnic races, the Africans, the Europeans, the Mongols, they've all blended when they enter into the Hinduism. They become Hindus because when they meet the saints, the whole people, and see the effect and power, they realize it's the best after all. So India, so many people from all over the world go there to study and learn spirituality, and this is the spiritual capital of the world, Rishikesh, and people go there to learn and to get so much knowledge, you know. Some marry, they stay there, they go and live and become permanent residents, like the Persians. You know, Persia had a migratory wave to India. The Jews, some of the tribes, the last 10 tribes, some of them, they say, went there. We have Portuguese, we have many Europeans, and so have been going there to study and to live and so on. So even in fact, they said the Aryans, which came from central Russia, they were the Mediterranean Aryans. They have the Nordic and the Alpine Aryans, but the Mediterranean came there. Baba Nandamar Guru said many great astrologers came from Russia, and they came and stayed there in India. You know, they were good in astrology, palmistry, Vedic pujas, and so at that time Ukraine and all these places were Russian countries. Sad to see today that what happened with Ukraine and Russia, this kind of brutality between brothers and brothers, and body and sissy and auntie and uncle and bougie and bouja and all these kind of things. And everybody was kind of like one in those old days, going towards the light and seeking the light. And India was that light because they had great teachers coming from time to time. The Buddha, Mahavira, Sankaracharya, Sri Gautama, Atri, Kapil Muni. All these men came and their writings and so blast the world like anything. People just can't, just stupefied and shocked. You know, they said they must go there to see this place. But that don't mean that we and all these little boys coming out for I-pass we and lead we astray and stealing us and robbing us and all. We gotta be careful. Honest, we want the highest. Then people make these deep sacrifice and these big sacrifice to be kicked about and tossed about, spit upon and urinated upon and these kind of things, you know. So we at the grassroots level, the small boys, we just want peace of mind. We want some comfort. We want some harmony in the society. We want some enough for everything to survive. So as Hindus on the sacred day of Diwali, you can make a lot of contribution in science, technology, everything. Hindus can do a lot of work, but many times they're not given a chance. Ananda Murthy said that the Africans have great intellectual power, but they're not given a chance to use it. Like this, he's saying that the other ethnicities are controlling the Africans and they cannot able to express their full. I don't know how that is true, right? But of course, I feel that the Hindus are suppressed also. In Guyana, in the Caribbean, people who want to be genuine Hindus and genuine spiritual speakers, they don't have a chance. They're not given the opportunity to do so. You know, there's a lot of oppression, suppression. You can't be a seeker, spiritual seeker in this country. It's very not so easy to see the light, to get the light, to become the light, to merge in the light and so on. And we're still talking about this Diwali, this light phenomenon, this light business. It's not a reality. We just blah, 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 showing off some lights and fairy works, dressing up in habiliments and so on. But the real thing is that the message Diwali is good over evil, and to have in the system, to have this acceptance of Hindu values and Hindu doctrines being adapted and adjusted into the system of everyday life, into the technology of everyday life. And this is why the gurus and teachers have been coming from time to time. And if any race or anybody feel they're superior than the avatars or the masters, then that wouldn't be self-destructive, because you go against the principle, you go against life itself. These teachers are the reservoir of life. These great saints, genuine, great teachers and avatars who come. They're the great teachers and great saints. And the message they bring is for all humanity, because they are world teachers. And those who want to go off track or go somewhere thinking that sports is better, intellectual pursuits is better, it's just a mortal affair. It's just short-lived. It's just an illusory thing. Like in the words of Sankacharya, he says the world is a big illusion with all its fantasies and all its fantastic presentations and programs and ideas. It's just illusion. That there's no depth in it. It's not deep. It hasn't got infinite depth. So in the world level, Ananda Murthy, he has more motherly, he's more kind. He said, it's not fake, it's not illusion, live it, work with it, exist with it. So he condemned the Mayavad and telling people accept it as reality. So and try to make it better. Try to make it, if technology is at X point, then you can take it to X plus 1 or X square or X plus 1 all square or whatever. But don't deny it. It's there. It can hurt us. We can feel it. We can experience it. We can taste it. We can live it, and so on. It can be a means to realization and enlightenment also. You know, that we don't have to get away to the mountains or to live under waterfalls or live in a tree, you know, build houses. You know, in some cultures they build these houses in the trees so that they can live above the ground and away from the battle, the warfare, the ground war, what they call it, ground fighting, you know. They want to go above the ground, so they live in the trees. If man could have fly, might have been spending a lot of time in the air. But unfortunately, this is not so, and we have to live. And the greatest issue in this Diwali thing is how can Hindus, or as people who want to follow Hinduism, teach you the yamas and niyama, the ethics, the morality. You cannot be follow. It's very difficult in the workplace. You have, for example, co-workers who are so, there's a co-worker I know who is so egoistic that he has so much knowledge, he has so much practicality. Another one who's from India himself, I know, he said he has so much education, he has so much PhD, they can tell you what they like, they can do to students what they're like. This is not so. We have cases with a doctor being charged the other day, Mr. Nazir. He was an Olympic doctor, and people being charged for doing and trying to take liberties with their certificate, the paper qualification, the paper documents. But it's not always um, the reality and of life that papers and certificates is the passport to reality and to the higher life, higher living consciousness. So the big question is, as Hindus living in the diaspora, we are supposed to be living in a Christian atmosphere. I mean, in Europe, it's easier. In America and Canada, it's many times, most of the time, it's easy. We might have a little bit of disconcerting experiences and repercussions and negative experiences, but these are rare. There are a few cases, not so much. They are rarefied and not so much prevalent. Hindus have a perfect spirituality, but the society, it fails in the society because people cannot live the life. They don't follow it to the end. At some point in the Hindu career, they have experiences and they get benefits and they stay there. They want to go further, and that sometimes causes them to degenerate, fall along, decelerate, to revert, or what they call you fall, what the Christian call it, backsliding. It happens. So always we have to stay in groups, positive groups, and we have to try to work and surface to make the surface things okay. The surface life, the life on the surface, the planet, we have to try to make that improve. At the same time, without jeopardizing the other ethnic group and other religious group, ethnic groups, religious groups, other social groups. They also have to live. They also have to survive, and they don't want to see, for example, another culture going above them or taking the lead to rule them, because they feel it will have a bad effect on them. It will suppress them. It will oppress them. They won't be able to enjoy the privilege of life, the experience of life in their own ways. Life is to be perfect as it is to be lived, as it should be lived. But that's a big question here in Guyana. We come to Diwali and we come to Holi Festival, we come to Shivratris, and then now there's a Kartika Snan there. And we want to know, after this festival, do we take this purity that we get, this commitment to be righteous, to be good, and we come down into the everyday run and rot of business, and we find ourselves becoming polluted again. I know this is a strong word for some people when I say polluted. We become offended, we become insulted, violated, and all of these are words. Also, there are some positive benefit. We know we get promotions, we get affection, respect, love, but the negative that comes with it is sometimes very overwhelming. Like the Hindus, for example, they don't like sexual harassment. Celibacy is one of the tenets. And 2, if they can be vegetarians, and 3, if they can form harmonious relationship with people. That's what they like. Sometimes they're in a relationship with a friend or a co-worker who is not understanding or cooperative about the ideals. And if the Hindu is lacking in knowledge and that person has more knowledge, then I'm sorry for the Hindu. So it's best if he has, in those cases, to have a supervisor who is a Hindu or who understands Hindu's way, or to have that friend who is also like himself, an Indian or a Hindu, or a Hindu of other ethnic variety. No. So it's like that play of things is very difficult. People are fighting Hindus and people with Hindu backgrounds, they're fighting you down, thinking that your philosophy is defective, your ideas are defective, you are defective, you will bring bad luck and omen to the society, and so on and so on and so on. But like I said, if you form a group and you live in that group, you will find that your contribution is equal to other groups, other human groups, or even more also. If we are to believe in what the Hindu doctrines teach us, there will be a lot of surprise for the rest of the society, because magic happens in Hinduism and miracles do happen in plain open sight. You know, things like genius, in things like remarkability, astounding, awesomeness are words you can only use to pay courtesy and respect to the adherent to Hinduism and its different branches and sects. You know, these are things that happen. They produce human specimen. Religion itself is the best genetic engineer. When you have family and offspring coming off in the future, they will inherit those qualities that you created change within yourselves. So rather than becoming a criminal, becoming a bad person, antisocial in society, should try to support people who are living in a positive and a good way. You know, there's a lot of trials and struggles that come in the long term practice of religion. In the beginning, you know, I was at a yoga day, International Yoga Day meeting about 15 years ago in Cornelia, Idaho. They had a meeting there. And one thin, dark-skinned boy of South Indian origin, he had a group of people and he was looking at me. He said, yoga is something easy. You just practice and that's it. I said, no, yoga is not that easy. After 10 years, 15 years, problems, obstacles, challenges will start arising. They say the gods test you. The gods test you. They put obstacles, various forces, elementals. They put forces, fires, brimstone, hurdles, all kind of things to test your sincerity. And if you pass, they will bless you and give you the power that, some of the powers that they have. That's the doctrine. So Hinduism has many marvelous things if it's followed in a genuine way. It's followed under the instruction of a teacher, preceptor. So my hope is that Hinduism will find a way to exist. Its people will be able to enjoy fruitfulness in their everyday life. You know, right now the situation with Hindus in this country is now very encouraging. There's a lot of fight and competition between them. You know, it's a very challenging lifestyles. You know, in the Grihastha ashram, the household or family life, you know, it's not that so easy. You know, it's very challenging life. So as we have to take these challenges and these struggle also in the real life outside with all ethnicity, people of various culture, background, psychology, genetic endowments. You know, we hope that the Hindu will prevail, the Hindu spirit will prevail, this genuine spiritual people will be able to help others and help them to find a way also forward, you know. Hindus are not selfish people, we help others when we can, you know. So I hope this happens and we find a way for Hindus here. This oppression will stop, you know. And things will improve. Namaskar. Happy day. Happy Diwali 2024.